Have you ever heard of Awendaw? If you're thinking about moving to the Charleston, South Carolina area, it's likely you've never even heard of the beautiful town of Awendaw, and yet it may just be somewhere that checks all of your boxes. Today, I'm telling you all about Awendaw, the pros and the cons, the things to do, the housing options, and whether or not it's somewhere worth exploring for your next move. Hi, I'm Sarah. I am the team leader and realtor with the Elevate team at eXp Realty here in the Charleston, South Carolina area. And my team and I love helping people just like you every single day with your buying and selling needs. So if we can be of service to you as well, we would absolutely love to start with a conversation. You can reach out with the link below to schedule a Zoom call with me, and I would love to answer your questions and chat further about how we can help. Let's start by talking about Awendaw's location. Awendaw is a town right next to Mount Pleasant. So it's right in between Mount Pleasant to the south and McClellanville to the north. McClellanville is a small fishing town that's not considered part of Charleston, but it's still part of our MLS. Awendaw is nestled along the eastern edge of the Francis Marion National Forest and the western edge of the Cape Romaine National Wildlife Refuge. So it's surrounded by trees and untouchable land that will never be developed. Route 17 goes right through Awendaw. So anywhere you want to go in Awendaw, you would be taking Route 17 and then either turning right or left onto a smaller road to get to your location or home. Most of Awendaw is in unincorporated Charleston County, and it has its own zip code. While it's called the town of Awendaw, it's not so much a town in the traditional sense. There is no downtown or main street to go stroll. There's not even commercial areas. It's really just some houses nestled in nature, so it feels very rural. In fact, the population is only about 1,450 people, and that's actually gone up in recent years. During COVID, people were fleeing more densely populated areas and were being drawn to more rural outposts. So there's been a decent amount of new construction in Awendaw, at least relative to the size of the area, so the population has gone up. According to the Post and Courier, Awendaw's population could actually triple in the coming years due to some developments that have already been approved. We're going to talk more about housing options and the recently passed moratorium on new construction later on in the video. The draw of Awendaw is that you are really removed from the hustle and bustle. It's perfect for privacy and getting more space and more land, but you're only 10 to 20 minutes away from North Mount Pleasant. North Mount Pleasant has a hospital, a Costco, Walmart, plenty of shops and restaurants, so it's actually a pretty convenient location if you want to be living the rural life and yet not actually being so far away from all of your day-to-day needs. If you want to learn more about Mount Pleasant, check out this playlist that has tons of videos all about Mount Pleasant. Now it's time for a little history lesson. Awendaw was named by the Siwi Native American tribe. It's home to one of their oyster shell mounds and is the northernmost shell ring in a group that stretches south to the tip of Florida. Most of the mound is still intact. Awendaw was later settled in 1696 by the Wapata settlers from Salem, Massachusetts, who left after the Salem witch trials. The town of Awendaw, as we know it today, was established in 1992. Next, we're going to move into talking about the things to do in Awendaw. Most of the things to do revolve around the outdoors. If you're a boater, the town of Awendaw is served by the public boat landing called Garris Landing at the end of Bulls Island Road. If you're a hiker, you will love the Francis Marion National Forest. This nearly 259,000 acre forest is a lush landscape of pine stands and wildlife-filled swamps and marshes, shaded by towering bald cypress trees. You can hike, bike, canoe, kayak, or even enjoy the motorcycle trails or rifle range. You can also explore the East Coast Greenway's Wapata Trail and the Awendaw Passage, which is the coastal terminus of the statewide Palmetto Trail. Awendaw is also home to several education-oriented activities. One of those places is the Siwi Visitor and Environmental Education Center. This center showcases the valuable ecosystems of the Cape Romaine National Wildlife Refuge and the Francis Marion National Forest. There's interactive exhibits, a nature trail, native plant gardens, an auditorium, and a live endangered red wolf viewing area. Awendaw is also home to the Center for the Birds of Prey at the Avian Conservation Center. Along with its educational programs through the Birds of Prey, the center continues to treat, rehabilitate, and release more than 600 injured raptors and shorebirds a year, and houses the only permanent oil spill treatment center on the East Coast, where oil-slicked birds are sent for treatment. Touring the Center for Birds of Prey isn't just an amazing experience for kids and adults, it's also the best way to support the center's veterinary and rescue work. Another attraction in Awendaw is called Bulls Island. Bulls Island is the largest of 4 barrier islands found within the Cape Romaine National Wildlife Refuge. It's a 5,000-acre maritime forest with fresh and brackish water impoundments and a beach area. The 6.5-mile uninhabited island remains virtually untouched and is home to countless wildlife and endangered species. The only way to reach the island is by private boat, including the Coastal Expeditions Company or the official Bulls Island Ferry. You board the ferry at Garris Landing, and then it's a 30-minute ride to Bulls Island. On the island, you'll get to explore native wildlife such as the American alligators, horseshoe crabs, box squirrels, and bobcats, along with nearly 300 migratory and resident bird species, 16 miles of trails, and 7 miles of shoreline, and you can explore the jewel of the island, Boneyard Beach. Bulls Island is truly a nature and bird lover's paradise. There are also several events throughout the year in Awendaw that celebrate the environment and local seafood. They have the town's annual Blue Crab Festival, the Seaweed Association's annual Oyster Roast, the annual Bulls Bay Nature Festival, and there's Awendaw Green, which is a weekly laid-back outdoor music event at the Seaweed Outpost showcasing the local and regional music scene every Wednesday night. As I mentioned earlier, if you live in Awendaw, you are not far from Mount Pleasant, so it's not such a long ride if you want to go into town and do some shopping. If you want to go to the beach, the closest is going to be Isle of Palms, probably about a 30-minute drive from Awendaw. And downtown Charleston could be 30 to 40 minutes. It really just depends on how far into Awendaw you are. Now let's talk about housing. Many people are drawn to Awendaw because it is tranquil, it's private, and you're nestled in this idyllic setting. You can get more acreage and larger lots compared to Mount Pleasant, and a lot of the neighborhoods and homes are no HOA, meaning if you wanted to have chickens, for example, you can totally do that. Awendaw, it tends to attract a lot of boaters too. Not only could you store your boat in the driveway if you want, if you don't have to worry about an HOA, but a lot of the communities have their own boat launches and dock facilities in the neighborhood, as well as the public boat landing. There are some truly beautiful homes in Awendaw, some of which have water views. It could be the Awendaw River or the Intercoastal Waterway or a beautiful creek marsh view, and some homes even have deep water docks. Awendaw is also home to some equestrian properties. Because you're more rural, there is no sewer system, so each home does have its own septic. Some homes do have public water, but a lot of them are on wells currently, though they are working to connect more and more homes to the public water system. If you're wondering about schools, a lot of homes are zoned for the St. James Santee Elementary School, but some are actually zoned for the Mount Pleasant schools, which would be the Charles Pinckney Elementary School in North Mount Pleasant. The middle school is Thomas Carrier Middle in North Mount Pleasant, and all high school students also go to Mount Pleasant at Awendaw High School. Next, let's talk about pricing. In our MLS, the Awendaw and McClellanville area are lumped together. So the median price in 2023 was $677,500 for a home in that area. In 2021, the median price in this area was $489,500. So that's an increase of 38% in 2 years. So while Awendaw used to be more off the beaten path and no one really knew about it, it's now having some spillover since it's so close to Mount Pleasant, and therefore the prices are rising. It's home to a lot more luxury properties over $1 million, and I'd say the median prices aren't quite accurate because it includes McClellanville, where homes are cheaper. So I'd say that the average prices in Awendaw now are often over $1 million. For example, I just did an MLS search today to see what's for sale in Awendaw. There are 27 homes total. The lowest is for $475,000 and the highest is for $3.895 million. So you can see that that's a huge range, but the majority were listed for over $1 million. Now, just as of last month in March 2024, the town of Awendaw recently passed a moratorium on building. The town is fearing the rapid development that is changing this small coastal community, and they want to reduce the development intensity. So this moratorium is a temporary freeze that blocks new subdivisions involving more than 5 parcels of land, prevents any rezonings, and is going to remain in place for 1 year or until the town decides to make an amendment or end the moratorium, whichever comes first. The town is also considering rules to increase the protection of large trees, including pine trees, which some governments exempt, and those rules would be enforced with larger fines. The town is also considering doubling the amount of land needed to build a home, which would be approximately 1/4 of an acre and would help reduce the density because it would take nearly twice the amount of land to build all of the new homes. Now, there have already been developments and new communities that have been approved prior to this moratorium, so those are not being impacted. I am aware of a couple of new construction communities opening in Awendaw this year. I don't want to share about them in this video because they aren't released for sale yet. I will hopefully do a video on them when they are, but if you would like a little bit of the intel and insider information, please go ahead and send me an email and I'm happy to share what I know. There is a community that I featured before on the channel called Copiahee Sound. It is right on the border of Mount Pleasant and Awendaw, so technically it's an Awendaw mailing address, but you are right there neighboring Mount Pleasant, so it could be a great option for you. It took the builder quite a bit of time to get all the permits, so now that they have them, things are selling quickly. I personally really love the homes in that community, and so if you would like more information, please reach out to me and I can tell you all about the current incentives and where things are at with the community. Okay, there you have it. Now you've learned all about Awendaw. So what do you think? Do you think Awendaw is somewhere that you would enjoy calling home? Leave a comment below and let us know what you think. If you're interested in other suburbs in the Charleston area, check out this video all about the different suburbs in the greater Charleston metro area. And if you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button so that you can be the first one to know about all things Charleston. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.